you give him your laptop so he can play in CAD for you. It'll be fine. Yeah.
And how you were, my daughter was making fun of me because I pressed so hard. It's like you can read. You took a piece of a pencil and went like that. She's close, you can read whatever.
You probably have to switch to it or make sure that.
I never do it. Screw. Right too hard. Hold your hands.
That's good.
Phil, yes.
Why?
On the story.
No.
It was such a little message.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, it's Mike. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good, Mike.
So,
You got
Perfect.
And did he say he could hear us?
Can you hear it?
He said you could hear us.
Carolyn said she'd be able to, probably. I have not heard from Val. We know. that.
You're fine.
Hey, Bill,
Hey there, guys.
how's it going?
Another day in paradise.
Hey,
Is it nice and warm there?
I don't know. I haven't been out of this chair all day long.
Hey. That's not what you told me you were doing.
I know it. It didn't happen. Best
I'm
laid
sorry.
plans.
I'm very sorry.
I've got 3 bond issues going and none of them are going well. So, yeah.
Still 5 then, right?
I guess we're gonna have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got 1 minute yet, so.
Yeah, it's about right. Here's Josh.
Josh,
Everybody tonight.
so far.
Are you planning to be at our Christmas parties?
Unfortunately, it's gonna be a no. Don't have a sitter for her, I guess, so.
And it's good with you. What we kind of talked about is we'd start with Mike Klein-Peter, who's online. Everybody remembers Mike. Mike's done like our labor standards and stuff for us. He was the grant writer for the grant we did on the fire department. There should be handouts laying there, some of his slides and PowerPoints. Basically what Mike Klein-Peter is going to talk about is looking into applying for an Okra grant for the wastewater treatment plant and some of the things that we're looking at based off like the VFDs. And it seems like we're on a continuous cycle of Sue coming to see me at least once a week, if not once a day, with something that's
5 years old.
yeah. So we're
Always
there.
bringing that up.
Yeah, so, with that, like I said, there's the handouts and stuff, but I'll let Mike go ahead and kind of explain to everybody how that works, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Mark, do you want me to share my screen or does everybody have handouts?
Everybody should have handouts. I got an extra
Perfect.
kit here. I can give Andy and Mike. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. Mike Klein-Peter, Klein-Peter Consulting Group. Put together a little packet. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but just to tell you a little bit about us. I know we've done some labor standards work there for the town. I used to work at the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA. That was back in 2015. And before that time, I was a grant writer in Kentucky, writing grants for substance abuse prevention centers. So when I moved back to Indiana, I took a job at the Lieutenant Governor's office, and my job was to make sure these OCRA grants were done correctly. I did that for about a year and realized I kind of missed being out in communities and making things happen. So I started writing grants on my own. If you flip over to that second slide deck, should be a chart by years and grant funds. Through the years, we've written many grants. 2025, we were at 19 grants. I think we had 18 funded. 2024, we submitted 23 grants, had 23 funded, and in 2023 submitted 19 grants, had 17 funded. So in the last 3 years, we've been 59 out of 62 for Okra grants, and so we've had a lot of success. That's not just because of me, it's about the team that's built for many of these projects. It's not me working alone for these grants, it's the engineers, it's the town, it's our staff all working together to get a good grant put together. And it starts with meetings like this. Flipping over to the next page, you can see we work in about 107 municipalities across the state. But we have 15 staff to help with the administration of these Okra projects. 5 of us used to work for the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. As their staff started to retire, I just picked them up one after another after they were retiring. 7 of us are certified, meaning if something happens to me, there's 6 other people that have an Okra certification to take care of your grant. Combined experience of all of our team is 115 years of Okra experience. So there's not a lot we're going to encounter on the project that somebody on our team hasn't seen before. Flipping over to the 4th page, that's little excerpts from all the press releases that Okra has. So if you go to Okra's website and look up the press releases on those days, you can see who's been funded and how many people they funded each round. On February 25th of 2025, Okra awarded grants to 16 communities across the state. We submitted 5 construction grant applications and we had 4 funded, and they're listed there. On August 20th, the most recent round, August 20th of this year, Okra awarded 11 water wastewater construction grants in the whole state. We submitted 6 applications and received funding for 6 applications. Those are listed there, but we had 6 out of the 11 in the state. We normally don't have that high of a percentage, but we had a very busy round that time and we're very successful, so that was pretty exciting. Flipping over to the next page is just a bunch of pictures and people showing their experience. Sometimes people know people in different capacities. Beth Gobe worked at Okra, has about 36 years experience. Neil Brook worked at Okra, had 19 years experience. Greg Beimer was the former interim director of Okra, has about 28 years experience, and you could see the rest of the team. I'm kind of one of the newer ones with only 9 years experience in this. Flipping over to the next slide is got red octagons on it, or hexagons. This is what Okra has to offer to municipalities. Water grants, wastewater grants, stormwater grants, commercial blight clearance, public facilities, and planning. These Okra construction grants are offered twice a year, typically in June and December. However, the 2026 calendar is not out yet. I've talked to some staff at Okra and they said it's going to follow a similar timeline of 2025, but nothing's official yet. But we don't have the due dates for 2026. Typically, that would be June or December is when you can apply for a construction grant. A town may have 3 open grants at a time. So we don't have any open right now. So we can go after this one. And once this one gets funded, we could potentially go after another one. Flipping over to the next page, it says water sewer grants up to 750,000. So we can get up to 750,000, requires a 20% match. This chart here says if your user rates are over $50 and your project is over 1 million, you can get the maximum 750,000. But if your project is under 1 million, you can only get 700,000. So we'll come back to this, but basically for you guys, the important thing to know is 750,000 is the maximum grant from Okra. Okra also has stormwater grants available up to 750,000 again. This water wastewater category gets somewhere between 20 and 30 applicants. They fund 10 to 12. The stormwater category gets 3 to 6 and they fund 2 to 3. You never know. Any round, there could be 10 or 20 or 30, but that's just based on my experience over the last 10 years. If the town was interested in applying for an Okra grant, the next slide, it has 7 things that are listed. And these are just based on my experience, things that stop our project. If we wanted to move forward, what is going to stop us or what are our costs going to be? So I like to walk through them and make sure everybody's on the same page. The first is we have to qualify for Okra. The town has already conducted an income survey townwide. And so we can use that income survey as long as everybody in the town is impacted by the project. So the first box we think we have checked. The second box is a preliminary engineering report. I think I see Mr. Andy sitting out in the crowd there. We need an engineer to put together a PER. What that is Okra wants to see 3 cost alternatives, 3 aerials, and a scope of work and why this project is needed. And that's where we'll talk about the age of the plant, the age of the equipment we're replacing. It doesn't have to be a big monster, couple 100-page report. This can be a smaller version, but we do have to have a preliminary engineering report. The third thing we're going to need is site control. On this project, we probably aren't going to have any issues because we're on property owned by the town or right of way for this project, but that's just one thing I like to point everybody's attention to. The fourth thing is an environmental review. That environmental review is where I have to show the Okra where dirt's going to move on the project, and I have to send it to 12 agencies and allow for a 30-day comment period. That process normally takes 60 to 90 days to get through, so it's important we start early. We do charge $5,000 for that environmental review. Our firm does not charge an application fee, so if we write the grant and it doesn't get funded, the only thing you're going to pay us is that $5,000 for that environmental review. If it gets funded, I always get asked, what are your fees if it gets funded? Okra has a scale that they set, 8% of the grant amount plus $5,000 for labor standards is the fees if it gets awarded.
Okay.
The next thing is the local match commitment. So council is going to have to pass a resolution prior to application that says we are committing X amount of dollars contingent upon getting an Okra grant. And I'll walk you through that process, but that's what that is just we got to pass a resolution at a council meeting. The next thing is an active SAM number. And lastly, we have to do 2 public hearings. So I wanted to go through that because I think it's important to start thinking about those things early. So that way, as we're looking through at the project, it's like, okay, we've got box 1 done. Box 2 we need to do. Box 3 is done. Box 4 is the environmental review that once we know what the project is and what the costs are, we can decide if we want to move forward with that or not. And then we just have to pass a resolution, do some public hearings. That's really the steps that you're going to have. And I've got a timeline laid out, but I wanted you to kind of know what your costs are going to be before you go into this. I hate it when it's like, you need to do this and then this and then this. And then you're like, I had no idea I was getting into all this stuff. So I'm going to pause for a minute and ask if you have any questions about the packet or anything before I talk about timeline.
I have a question. What is your SAM number?
The SAM number stands for System of Award Management. You got to go to www.sam.gov, and it just makes sure you're not debarred from receiving federal funds. It's a thing you got to do annually. Mark, do you do that, or does the clerk take care of that?
I do. Yeah, we've got one, and matter of fact, I think I've already done the renewal for next year already on it. So yeah, I'm going to say we've had that at least 14, 15 years now or whatever. Used it for multiple things, but yeah.
You would be surprised how often towns are expired and that stops a project. So any other questions? All right, I'm going to now jump over to what you should have a score sheet in front of you. At the top, it says Town of LaGrange Construction Grant. This is for a water or wastewater project. The score sheet is the same. But I like to go through this with you because this is the current score sheet that Okra is using. Okra has the right to change it at any time. You know, if the next round comes out and they change it, they can. But this has been pretty similar for most of the rounds. So I'd like to walk us through it. The first section is the national objective score. That's the score from our income survey, which was 67.29. So we will get 67.29 points there. That number is not going to change. It's based on our income survey. The next number is what's called your distress factors. So Okra works with IU and Stats Indiana, and they look at your poverty rate, your median household income, your unemployment rate, the housing cost burden, and the population change. Based on all those factors, they put them into a calculation and they assign everybody a point value. You guys get 92.61 points for that category. Right now, most communities are getting 80 to 85, so that score is a good score. These two numbers in green mean they're not going to change. This 92.61, it updates every year or two, but it just barely moves if it moves at all, and it's not something we control. We just go to a website, put in the town name, and it says these are your points. So we can't change those first two numbers. This third spot is a spot that you do have control over. This is your local match contribution. The more money you put in the project, the more points you score. To maximize the Okra grant, you've got to be over $1 million project cost. So in this example, we can adjust this, but Mark and I were brainstorming here, $750,000 grant, $300,000 in local funds, has a total project cost of $1,050,000. With that, we get 28.57 points. Now, Andy's team's going to put together the PER, and they may say, hey, to do the projects you want to do, it's $1,075,000. We don't have that exact number yet. We're just putting an estimate here to say, how do the points look to see if we're competitive or not? So if we did $750,000 grant and a $300,000 match, it'd be $1,050,000 project for 28.57 points. Then that number will change. That's why it's in yellow, depending on how big or small of a project we choose. The next is the project design factors. These are the narratives. This is where I tell Okra, what is our project? What is our issue? Why we can't afford it? Here's the issues residents are dealing with. And I've got about 6 to 8 pages to explain all this to Okra. It's out of 300 points. We have scored as high as a 295, 296. I gave us a 270, a solid A- college paper if this were college. I think we can do better than an A-. But if we don't get any resident support, we could do worse. I just feel like a 270 is kind of a solid score that if we get the documents we know we need to get, we can score a 270. It could be better. It could be worse. That number is not locked in. That number could change. Almost done with the score sheet, just 2 additional points here. The project specific points. First thing is called a financial gap. It's based on your number of customers. So it's green right now because we're not going to change how many customers we have. We're going to get 5 points in that category. Green infrastructure, you can get additional points for that. We're going to get 0. Most communities get 0, unless if we do VFDs, we might be able to get some green infrastructure points there. But for this exercise, I gave us a 0. We could get 5, 10, or 15 points there, depending on how much green infrastructure elements we have in the project. And again, that's where I'll look to Andy and his team to tell us, hey, here's the green infrastructure on this project. And then lastly, you get points based on what is your water and sewer bill for 4,000 gallons combined. If your bill is under $55, you get 0 points. If it's 55 to 100, you get 10. And if you're over 100, you get 25. Me and Mark were looking at that earlier today, and we're just barely over $100. So we get the full 25 points there. So at a minimum, we're getting 30 points if we have no green infrastructure. If we have green infrastructure, that number could go up some, but I gave us a 30 to be conservative. The last element is what bonus points. This is where if we have a meeting with Okra, they're going to come out and talk to us about community resiliency. The town council president and myself will sit through a meeting. By sitting through that meeting, we get a total of 20 points, or I'm sorry, a total of 17.02 points, 17.02. And then if we submit a 3-page document afterwards, we can get an additional 5 points, which we always submit the document afterwards. So 22.02 is going to be our score there. And then with Ochre grants, if you come in for a water project and then you come in for another water project within 5 years, you take a 50-point deduction. If we go water this year and wastewater next year, we have no point deduction because they're different categories. They're trying to stop you from coming in for the same project over and over and phasing it in. So we do not have a point deduction. And so you could see the total scores there. Okra says you have to be over 450 to be eligible. So if we're the only grant applicant in the state, it looks like we're going to score a 510.49. 450, you have to be at to be eligible for funding. What Okra does is once they get all the applications in and they score them, then they rank them who scores the highest and they start funding until they run out of money. 450 is the minimum that you got to be eligible. Typically 475, 485, somewhere in that range is a good score. You never know though, but typically that's a good score. We've got a 510 here. So that's why when I talked with Mark, I said, look, I think you've got a decent project. There's no guarantees you're going to get funded, but I think it's worth trying and telling the constituents, we did everything we can to fund this project using grant funds instead of having to raise rates and do it ourselves. What questions do you have about this score sheet for me?
If we file for a grant and we don't get it and file next year, that doesn't mean we're going to lose that 50 points. It just means if we get a grant and it's okayed, then we can't file again for the same type of project on the same water service.
You are correct. You are 100% correct. And what will happen is Okra will come out with the score sheet if we're not funded, and they're going to say exactly where we lost points.
Okay.
And so then we're going to know, hey, let's put this thing right back in. Let's fix this, this, and this, and submit it right back to them. And then we only have to do 2 public hearings, and we're right back in.
So can we get point increases if we go over the 300,000 for the 1 million?
Yes.
So how
Yeah.
much do we have to go up each time in order to get a point increase?
That's a great question. So the way Okra calculates it is $750,000 grant, $300,000 match for a total project of $1,050,000. So what Okra does is they take your matching funds, the $300,000, and they divide it by the total. So in this case, it's 300,000 divided by 1,050,000, which is 28.57. So if I opened up Excel here, give me just 1 second here, and I can give you, just to give you a quick estimate, if we had a $1.5 million project, that would be $750,000 grant, $750,000 in matching funds. You would get 50 points because you're putting in 750,000 out of the total 1.5. Does that help at all?
Yes.
A lot of times what sets the project cost, is you have some ballpark of, hey, we're trying to be around a 1.1, $1.2 million project. And then Andy gets with Mark in the wastewater department. They say, okay, how can we best put together a project that impacts residents and with engineering and grant administration fees comes in around that 1.1, 1.2 area? Because there's a lot more needs in the wastewater department from talking to Mark than just $1 million will solve. So it's kind of, where does this best fit into the overall picture?
Yeah, I mean, to that, if you move forward, and I'm not trying to cut in on Mike, I think realistically, and not trying to jump into the other thing, but that I shared with everybody was kind of a 20-year asset management plan that generated out of the water department. Something in that nature needs to happen with wastewater. And the reason I say that is this, there were many things when we had the private company managing our thing that I wasn't fond of, but I will say this, they were very diligent at maintenance of things, work orders, and maintaining the equipment. And that never changed when Catlin came in, and it's certainly not changed since Sue's been here. But the issue is is the buildings and things are strong, are solid. It's the electrical motors, it's the moving pieces that have been processing this stuff for like 25 years. So I think to do this correctly, if we move forward with this PER or we bring Andy and his team in, it's to work with Sue. Clearly, she has a pretty good understanding on things that she has issues and concerns with. Put that together, figure out what that cost is, and then rely on Sue and their expertise to go, okay, and Mike, to some extent, strategically, how should we stack this as far as priorities of what we want to get completed? And to some extent, with Mike's experience on some of this, what are our hot buttons to get funded? Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I thought when we talked before too, that you said if we applied and received the $750,000 grant to do this type of project in wastewater, there's a 5-year window before we could ever apply again, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
For wastewater. So if we go wastewater and we get funded in 2026, we wouldn't be able to apply. You could apply again within the 5 years. You just take the 50-point deduction, which is hard to overcome. So I always tell everybody, think about it, one project every 5 years in that utility.
Okay. I just to clarify. So, I mean, you clearly can't make a decision in a work session and just something potentially to bring up, in a regular meeting. We know she's got the VFD issue that's got to be addressed and some of these others. To me, I think we move forward. Because we're either gonna plan or we're just planning to fail. And
Well,
I
we
think-
can't
I
afford to
think
go
it-
backwards. That's
yeah,
for sure.
and I think this is good. I like what Mike's been able to put together. I think his success rate is good.
I have a question for Mike.
Yeah.
Sure.
The total match points and that local match contribution.
Yeah.
It's out of 75 points, 28 seems really low. Is there a sweet spot that most, like, where we could try to get our funding higher? Most projects that are winning, about how many points are they averaging? 50 plus?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I get asked a lot, what's your favorite project to bring in? And my favorite project to bring in is a $3 million total project, because then you're capping out at the 75, which means you're getting $750,000 grant, but you're putting in $2,250,000. What's unique about this round that we're going into is it's the first time, typically on big projects like that, they team up with what's called State Revolving Loan Fund, which you've had an SRF loan before. Okra, for the first time ever, is saying if you have an SRF project as your matching funds, you can only come in December, which means all your big projects are going to go in December, which is really sparking interest for smaller projects. I would love to see, 1.5, a 50% match. I think that would really help us in the point area, but we also got to be able to afford it. I'm not unrealistic in that,
Okay.
So
but the
kinda-
ideal would be 3 million, because you cap out at 75 points, which is the maximum in that category. But at 1.5 million, getting up to 50 points, you're going to be very competitive in that range.
I see the process like, working with Sue, we would develop a menu, basically, of options with priorities, and kind of probably chunk them together in areas, and then bring that to the council and say, okay, here's what we've got priority wise. These components make sense to couple together. And then, ultimately, how much do you feel comfortable funding? And, I'm working back with Mike.
That would make more sense too, because then we'd know more of a category of where we're at,
Yeah, I think,
what we can do, and,
yeah, I mean, I defer to Lori because we really haven't talked deeply. I don't know what
You
is
okay?
in wastewater. I mean, I think,
do they have any mints over there?
I think one of the things that could potentially help, that Andy and I had bumped on a little bit and DLC's been working on is, we do have some funds left from, although it's water, but from our SRF loan that we used for the water treatment plant. I think that number is approximately 715,000. Now, that money does have to go back into funds that Lori pulled the money from, but I know some of that money that we pulled was rainy day. So there would be a mechanism if we needed to, or you chose to allocate some of those funds to get back into this. I mean, because the reality to me of it is they're not going to improve themselves. So in some fashion or another, you know, we're going to have to do some of this. And I think to get as big a bang as we can from the 750,000 makes the most sense, and probably has the least amount of impact on our rates and you know, what people are going to have to pay in town, you know, to keep processing the waste. So yeah, I guess that, I mean, that's my thought. I mean, my thought is, and again, you know, it'd have to happen in the regular meeting, but if we want to move forward with this, then I think we authorize, you know, Andy and DLZ to begin that DRE work, or putting that together, you know, with Sue, and engage Mike as well, and, you know, and see where that's at. I think irregardless of where we go, I think the piece of Andy or someone from DLZ with expertise coming in and reviewing that plant and figuring out what we're going to need to do, how, like you said, how to prioritize that, and what that lifespan and timeline looks like, is going to be crucial. Because if not, things are going to fail that are going to require immediate attention. And if we haven't prepared for that, it's extremely difficult to try and figure out how we finance those things.
Well, I feel we can't sit on this any longer. We've already put stuff off.
I feel we should move forward.
I think we should move forward.
Well, and like I said, and I think it's just a fact of bringing it up once you get into your regular meeting and moving forward. So,
Josh, you have any ideas?
No, I think this is a great idea. It sounds like a win-win as far as Kleinpier and DLZ working together. We should have no problem getting this done.
The only thing I'd like to see is that if we raise our matching funds $1, we get 10 points.
well,
It doesn't work that way.
Hey, it's worth a shot.
I think Mike's pretty well connected with Okra, but I'm not sure he's that well connected with Okra.
Just a thought.
So the only other thing I have before you is a timeline, just to give you some idea. The schedule is not out for next year yet. So the minute the schedule comes out, I'll be updating a schedule and sending you one. Based on discussions, it sounds like it's going to have a similar schedule as this last year. So I put together this rough schedule just to give us an idea. The first thing is once we know the project, you know, in the next, probably really in the next 30 or 45 days, we got to figure out what the project is, and I've got to start that environmental review. We probably got a little longer than that. It's just I don't have the schedule. And what the dilemma is see that submit application down there in the middle of the page, June 28th. Whenever that date is, we got to make sure we have all our environmental review responses. So we probably have until, you know, the end of January, early February to get that environmental review going. So we can buy Andy and his team a little time there. The round's going to open in March. We're going to have to do a public hearing at a town council meeting. And so we'll just do it during a normal scheduled town council meeting. I think it might be March 16th. Andy will wrap up, him and his team will wrap up the PER by, you know, end of March. We have a proposal due April 26th. One of the things we really try to do is we submit a full application in April. And the reason being is the more information you submit to Okra, the better their feedback is, because they review it and they say, hey, I read through your application, make this minor change, make this minor change. And the sooner we get done with a full application and we submit it, then we get that feedback. So we always submit a full application by April 26th, which if you think about it, that's just 5 months away. It's coming quick. There'll be a second public hearing at the June meeting, an application due June 28th, award announcements August 29th. Then from there, you've got a 6-month or 6-week signature process. And so the project's probably going to go out to bid. It could go out to bid as early as October of 26, but a lot of times towns wait to do final design until it's awarded. So they would bid it out early 27. So I meant it is a little ways out there, the schedule. So I just wanted to kind of give you some idea of what that schedule looks like. This is just tentative because Ochre calendar isn't out, but as soon as it does come out, I'll update this and send in a firm schedule so everybody will know kind of what to expect. We will advertise the public hearings and everything, so we'll take care of all that for the clerk. And we'll just walk you through the process.
I think it sounds awesome.
Any questions for me?
I don't think, Bill, you got any questions?
No, I'm pretty familiar with the process.
Andy, you have anything?
No, I think when you were out, we talked about working with Sue, developing a menu of options, chunking the projects together, and then bringing that to the council with priorities to look at. And kind of that's how we could back into the total project cost. Also knowing that one thing I didn't mention that, this project, if all goes well, would be constructed in 2027. So there might be priorities that need to get done in 2026. So that, there may be a grouping of items that, hey, this is top priority, but it can't wait. So the town may have to pay for that separately, and then you have another tier of priorities that go into the grant. So I think that would all kind of come together as we, work on that.
Sounds good. Thanks for the presentation. Very
Yeah.
informative.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to head to my daughter's cheerleading. She's an 8th grade cheerleader. So I'm going to jump off the Zoom here and jump on my phone and listen into the rest of the conversation, but I'm going to turn the video and everything off. So thank you for your time this evening.
Hey,
Like,
good luck.
There,
Thank
we
you.
want you standing up in the stands and yelling and screaming for her, okay?
Hey, I got all the cheers down. The rumble.
Bet you do.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mike.
Take care.
I think the next piece, and what Sandy might, we'll throw to Andy, is that we were looking at would address the lead line stuff for Mark and water. And that would be a different type of involvement. That would be an SRF. SRS has a loan and a grant. I think the loan 750 is the grant 0%, Andy? Am I thinking right? Or it's low percentage?
Well, the way they've been doing it, and it's a forgivable loan is what they were calling it. So we've actually worked with communities to do that, but you still have to go through at the PER process, preliminary engineering report process with SRF, which is a much more involved PER than of Okra. So that's one item. It's similar to what we had to do for the water plant years ago. And then you go through it and they score it. And if you're in that top tier of funding, they can award just a low interest loan, or they could award a forgivable loan. But that process is a little, and maybe Bill, you could add to this a little bit. It's a little bit. You may want to write in front of me. So
Doing it on purpose.
So
All right. Uneven floor there.
You found the
So
wrong spot.
you got to get a race consultant probably involved, and there's the upfront costs for the town are gonna be more. But there's an opportunity to get a forgivable loan where you get that money back on the back end of it for the lead service line replacements.
Yeah, and I think,
We're gonna need that.
yeah, cause I mean, I think the reality of it is in talking with Mark, you know, in his list, some clearly will involve more work than others, some of them won't have much, but I think he's got approximately 225 lines on that list. Got 10 years to get through it. Some real early stuff in conversations that I had with Andy is, you know, in an ideal world, if we can get to 750 and the 750, you'd be at 1.5. He's telling me that there's some other communities that they've done work in, and the best guesstimate on those line replacements is about 15,000 a line. So that realistically would come in saying it would knock out, let's say in theory, 100 of those lines. But the other piece to remember is, to do that, I legitimately think, unless it is a really significantly large company that we bid this out to do the work, you're 3 to 5 years worth of work to get that done. But I think part of the beauty in that is the fact that we are making progress. It shows we're doing something to do that, because internally with the staff that Mark's got, I'm just gonna be honest, it's impossible. I mean, I think he would have to have probably twice the staff that he's got now and be able to dedicate those other individuals with a much different skill set to doing nothing but 9-10 months a year that the ground was capable, you know, of doing this. I think if we move forward and we're fortunate enough to get this and you move on down and we move this down the road, that hopefully some of that easier stuff. I mean, I know some of the easier stuff is like Union Street that we redid in Hall Patch, where we brought everything back. We know everything's good to the shut off. Those will be easier. We'll just simply be going from the shut off into the homes, which will help. The piece to remember in all of this that I think that's crucial to get into this is the fact that regardless how we do this, we have to go from the main to the home. So that doesn't really change. But if you get that SRF money or loans, there's a requirement in there that we do not charge the homeowner anything for the installation, which really isn't an issue when you're doing that, but you have to understand, and that's why I bring up the 225. You can't put 100 lines in to property owners or citizens, and then all of a sudden when the money runs out, go, okay, now the rest of you didn't manage to get in on the first part of this, so now we're going to charge you because you can't. So I mean, you're gonna have to fund the backside of that. Now, that being said, who knows 5 years from now what may be available in additional funds. One, we would know that theoretically, if things didn't change, you could run the course and you could run that money or get close to running that money, and you could go back in to what we kind of talked about for wastewater in water with Okra. And again, try and pick up, assuming it would, nothing has changed, that 750 again with some match, and and maybe continue on with the contractor. But ultimately it has to be completed, and ultimately all of these things are going to have an impact, and that impact, in my mind, undoubtedly at some point is going to involve raising rates. I mean, I don't think there's an avenue to get around it, but I think that it lands better when we show that we've done everything that we could possibly do to try to tap into resources or free monies or grants or whatever, to maintain this. Because I really don't think in my mind, there's nothing more important that we do in the town than making sure that water is safe. I mean, people expect to be able to turn that faucet on, and whatever comes out, is safe. And kind of cost of doing business. I don't know. So I mean, I think both of these make sense, to move forward, as Andy has said. And I mean, and I think if you want to do that as they dive into that, I'm sure they can get you some numbers that get you a little closer to what that is. But yeah, there's going to be a fairly heavy front end cost on getting ready to do that. And there's not an absolute guarantee that that will win.
And Mike's got a lot of experience with lead service line replacements. Anything we missed or?
No, I think that covers it, other than the fact that you should also kind of look at it proactively with the main that it's connecting to.
Right.
As you're looking at this, because if you're gonna be digging up and going for services, if you've got a 50-year-old, 75-year-old main.
That's the new stuff.
So it's not just the service line, you gotta kind of think of other is for water system. The goal obviously is to get rid of the lead line, but it's the overall health of your system.
Yeah. And again, and like I said, so I mean, I think those are things that we should look at. And I think if there are things that you want to do, moving forward, that it needs to be discussed once you get into your
I don't
meeting.
think we
and
have
then
any choice but to
to,
move forward.
to
I mean,
authorize.
we don't have any options.
Yeah, authorize,
Yeah.
Andy and his team to do his pieces as well as Mike on the others, and hopefully,
Might as well put him on the payroll.
he's been on the payroll for so long now.
I mean,
Very,
with all
very
the-
kind to keep us around.
We own the wall in the south end office at this point.
Lots of vehicles. too.
Lots of vehicles, do we do that too? No, but like I said, I mean, I think, I mean, I wish I had a better answer to some of this, and I think these are at least two pieces that we found, and to do this completely on our own would be, I mean, it may come to that, but the impact that that'll have on rates will be astronomical.
And like you said, at least it shows that we are trying.
Yeah, that we've utilized
We are doing our.
to the best of our ability,
Right.
whatever we have in resource.
Well, all in all, it sounds really easy. All you gotta do is just run this line from here into somebody's house. But that could be a long ways. That's also tearing up the street from where our thing is to bore across and bore into there. Although the government's wanting us to bore up from below, so you're gonna have to go down and come up above. I mean, there's a lot to it. And if they've got 225, that's 23 a year that we have to do. At least 23 a year. And some
Yeah.
places will definitely be a lot easier,
Absolutely.
but there are places where you have to come from where the front and 100 feet
Yeah.
up to the side of the house rather than to where the front of the house is.
Yeah,
And
I
so
think,
it's
I
gonna,
think a couple
And that don't
a day on some of those tougher ones will be.
yeah. And that doesn't include any road repair or anything like that could be impacted by this. I mean, geez, yeah.
But are you saying like Union Street, patch with the new street, do they still have to dig up streets for those houses? Or do they have
Depends on where
shut
that
off
shut off
already?
is, they replace that, so they'd have to go from that shut off up to it, but not every place is like that.
Right, no, I meant with those two new
But yeah.
streets, I didn't know. if
No,
there was-
No.
most of, Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, most of our, lines on like Union and Hall Patch and some of that with the lead line replacement, we've got the shut offs outside this, not outside the street, or at least to where we wouldn't have to cut the street. To extend onto the home. I
That
mean,
was
we
my
may
question.
have to play with some sidewalks on some.
Yeah, so it's hit or miss on what side to side.
No, that's like my house, you'd have to tear a bush out in order to get in there.
Could very well be.
And my wife.
And we can.
Your wife said she cleaned that out. She
Yeah.
told me.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take it out yet
I've
because.
been trying to work it out for 20 years. It's still there.
Is there, well, and I mean, we could literally have areas with large trees and just a multitude of things that could cause us headaches.
Or areas where you're not serving it from the same spot.
Correct.
Or you might take it from a different.
Correct, absolutely.
What we found, to Ray's point, you gotta go into the house they call it the apprentice plumbing, so you gotta connect if the meter's in the house there or in that general area. And a lot of times, in the old houses, the house ground, electrical ground is to the water pipe. So we have to have a cost in there to relocate that ground for that too. So there's all these little costs
Yeah,
that
there's a
do
lot,
add
a
up.
lot more
into
to it than
this,
just running a new block.
when you dig into it.
What do you consider old houses?
I don't know when the electrical code would have changed, but it's probably anything, and Mark, you probably see that every so often, anything before the 70s, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like anywhere in the initial 2/3 of our town there's a chance. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know until.
That's the way mine used to be. It
So
was
my house
attached
is
to
old.
my water
Yeah,
pipes.
most houses.
I had a guy come in
I was
and take it
checking
off,
to see if I have an old house.
run new state south,
I think I have the oldest
run it
house.
right directly.
I think I have the oldest house.
Your house has
town,
to be
yours?
one of the oldest.
Probably
Right up there.
Right, yeah. I mean, those were some of the first.
1893.
Oh, that's pretty new.
They restored a Victorian in 1893.
Mine's 1903.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, unless people have questions, I mean, I think that gives you some idea of what's out there, what's available, and
Anybody else have any questions about what we talked about tonight? If not, we'll adjourn and get ready for our regular meeting. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for all your expertise. And
I think it was very
Thanks for coming in.
informative.
Geez, running signal
her scholarship included study abroad, so she's looking at programs to do and twenty. She's doing really well. She's enjoying it a lot more now that the engineering stuff.
Okay, everybody, we're unmuted.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant to say something to you about.
We have 6 o'clock by the big clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I
Opposed?
moved to approve the minutes.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve our last meeting. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Lori, what do you got for us tonight?
The first thing I have is an ordinance amending the rates and charges for the sewer works to, with the waste disposal. If you remember, or Di.
You can get,
Sue.
come on, you can get it out.
Sue suggested we raise not the regular septic waste, but the other products by 2 cents per gallon. So Bill did up an ordinance, and we will need to set a public hearing for, I set it for January, the first meeting in January. So we'll need to have signatures. Don't think that's the right one.
I don't think we need it until January.
We need signature, oh, I need to
You just need us to,
find it for that advertising, but I'll get, when we get to it, I'll pass it out. Probably need a motion to have a public hearing.
yeah, okay, and we move forward.
Yep.
I make said motion.
We got a motion and a second to move forward with this.
That's not it.
With resolution number 2025-12-1A. And it is to raise our amended rate increase for our sewage. And this is not for our regular town folk. This is for people that bring in sewage from outside our district in order to have it treated. And we're raising that by 2 cents per gallon, which will be after the public notice will be voted on. We'll address it again in January 1st. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
The next thing I have is a resolution to combine our banking accounts at Farmer State Bank. We approved it last meeting, but we just need signatures on that.
All right, move to approve resolution 2025-12-1B.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-12-1B. And it's a resolution to combine our banking accounts at Farmer State Bank, which will move all of our town funds, water funds, and wastewater funds all into one account. She will still maintain a separate understanding of that money, but as far as the banking part of it, it will all be combined. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll get this passed on.
Have a lot of these tonight. We did a lot of business.
Uh, so everyone makes food.
Oh,
Next up is our wage and salary ordinance for 2026. I'll need a resolution or a motion to.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-12-1C.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2025-12-1C, which is our wage and salary ordinance. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, it did include the extra holiday for June 9th.
Okay, this does include in Juneteenth. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next thing, while you're signing that, says, I did have a resolution to encumber funds from the town funds to carry over appropriations to 2026 for the software that you approved last meeting. This doesn't, you don't have to encumber funds from water and sewer, so this is only the town portion of what's going to get paid. And that's 2025-12-01V.
Oh, I move to approve the resolution 2025-12-1D. Moving the appropriations needed to get the BSNA software.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for resolution 2025-12-1D. And it's a resolution to encumber funds from appropriations from the 2025 to the 2026 for our software upgrade, BSA software upgrade, in the total amount of $39,620. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next thing is we discussed at the last meeting and was voted to approve changing town hall business hours.
Every day.
Every day. Yes. I move to approve resolution 2025-12-1E. Lori's 100th resolution of the night.
Second.
Yeesh, I'm getting writers.
Changing hours of the town hall.
I'm getting brighter.
All right, so
That's
we
what
have-
I felt about doing them all.
Yeah, but these are all poked out on a typewriter. They're not your handwritten.
I'm glad my last name is.
We have a motion and a second for resolution 2025-12-1E, which is to amend the business hours from the town hall. So it will now be from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 p.m. rather than 4:30 to 4 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 8 to 12 on, 8 to 12 on Wednesday. This only affects the town hall. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
I have one more. I didn't put a resolution number on this one, but it's the 2026 fire payroll agreement. You all discussed an hourly increase for volunteer firefighters, and that's what this addresses.
Do we need a resolution number on there?
If you, we can write it on there.
Yeah.
Be F. Well, 2025 12-1 F.
Does that include what we discussed, Lori, or no?
It's for the hourly rate only is what I was assuming. I thought that we have that.
You assumed correctly.
I move to approve resolution 2025-12-1 S. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 2012-1 F, which is the fire department payroll agreement. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
So
Motion carried.
while you're signing that, I just have a couple informational things. Then I'll be done. We have been gathering things for Breakfast with Santa. We have a whole room in here full of we're gonna pack bags tomorrow morning if anybody's available and wants to pop out, probably 9 o'clock. By the time we get in and get the stuff set up and the girls get their deposit done, usually around 9 o'clock when we get started up. So
How long does it usually take?
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It goes pretty fast.
And the time I come out and do it, it's about an hour and a half.
It's probably fine for an hour.
I can do Wednesday if you have anything left Wednesday, but I would love to help.
As always, our community has been this generous. I think we got 2 things to do yet. I think we've got everything that's been committed that I know of. And Breakfast with Santa is Saturday. Encourage everyone to come.
Yeah.
Time do we need to be there?
Starts at 8, so 7:45, 7:30. Me too.
Where's reconciliation?
Oh, I didn't do that this time.
That was
We just got bank statements today.
Oh, okay.
Everything is.
I thought I read seen that something.
It's all about.
Oh, well, that could be because this thing.
The
Accounts
balance
payable.
bank in New York, and we don't get those on the first of the month, usually it's over the fourth. But everything else, no repair. Goes pretty smoothly these days.
Yes.
That's it for me.
Okay, anybody have anything for Lori? Mark, you're up. You got anything for us tonight?
Didn't get a report for you, because really what we've been working on is getting our letters out. Got them sent, last Friday, not this last Friday, Friday before. And, I think we had 286 in total, so there's 272 total services that are galvanized that need replaced. we were able to take that down to like 260 this year, but then by potholing and verifying other ones, we found about 12 more. So kind of a wash for the year. So we still have about 270 to go. Basically printed off. So I don't know if any of you have got a letter.
All right.
And the mic, right? Did you get the letter?
I did.
I got
So here's what I sent basically was here's a letter and then basically another letter that just kind of helps explain.
Okay, I couldn't figure out what I was reading.
Most people can't because for some reason the EPA,
Oh, I was thinking.
They write Greek.
the EPA wants us to have all that jargon on it. So pretty much what's in the little outline box is what we were able to add as extra. And it just basically explains kind of still trying to put our plan together. We got some ideas, I think now, but still don't have anything in stone and still got a couple of years to really get it finalized before we got to put it into effect. So, yeah, I've already had one call about it. I'll probably have another 30 calls this week just to explain that same thing over and over. Like, you want to give them answers, but you just don't have them yet.
Put
So,
a recording on your phone.
right. But so yeah, that's where we're at now. Like I said, everybody's just now getting them. Haven't got any back yet, so that was fun last year trying to figure out everybody's address that they use against, you know, what Beacon uses and what we use in the office is sometimes different. So yeah, we got one back from the post office last year. It was for the post office.
Yeah.
And so we had that address. So yeah, there's a couple things that we struggle with. Like I said, I think everybody's got a better idea this year on what they're getting. Everybody in the nation gets them right now, so hopefully we'll get our plan done and get something done. That's all I got.
Good work.
Anybody have anything else from our,
No, that looks good.
thanks, Mark. Keep up the good work. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Has anybody, this is a dumb question, has anybody asked if they could go ahead and get theirs done prior to this all being?
They do sometimes, and it's kind of a hard situation that we're in because, on the letter, it's explained in one spot that if somebody doesn't want to wait, they can go ahead and replace their half, but it's on them to do. We would give you the
Well, it is
material,
hard to pick and choose here and there.
but whenever they would redo theirs or replace their half, we have 45 days to get our half replaced. So it kind of forces our hand,
Yeah,
and I think we will have a few people that might do that at some point.
I just wondered if anybody was talking that.
So some have, but it's just one of those things. It's like if you wait a couple of years, it could be paid for. So I'm trying to get people to just stay patient and use the lead filter.
And it seems like it'd be easier if you had 3 in a row versus one here and one.
And that's what we're trying to figure out is once we get a game plan, we can really get our money's worth out of
Yeah.
getting stuff replaced. And, you know,
Because somebody asked me about it and I thought I'd just find out.
but yeah, they can if they want. It'll kind of force our hands down to replace our.
Well, I told them I wouldn't recommend it, one in the middle when the surrounding aren't, but I said I'll find out.
So I can't keep people from doing it.
Right.
But,
Right.
you don't want to keep them from doing it
Right.
anyways,
Right.
but you want to have a plan that works. That's the.
Anybody have anything else, Mark? Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Lou, what's up?
Not a whole lot. I didn't get a report out either. Last week was a little crazy for us. Craig broke a couple ribs, so he's been out.
What?
Yeah. Doing leaves, tripped and fell on a rock.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's been out. Well, he didn't work last week.
No
he
matter
worked
what
today.
it is.
It's kind of day to day, see what he can.
Yeah.
Update on the heating unit. We did end up going with Music's. It's gonna be 4 to 5 weeks, so I don't expect it before the first of the year. But we'll make do with electric heaters what we can and. Yeah. It didn't do too bad over the weekend.
Put up a solar panel to.
Might need to.
Mm.
Other than that, I didn't have anything else. Just trying to.
Well, it looks to me like you're gonna have your hands busy now all of a sudden here. Got a short window to start getting stuff. What we need. You got confidence in you.
But yeah, that's all.
Anybody have anything for Sue?
Did you know?
Who?
Is that even?
Oh, you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Street department. Ugh. Some guys all sleeping, getting ready for tonight.
Oh, now, come on.
Definitely been busy. Looks nice too. Kept plowing my driveway shut.
Well,
You need
Yeah.
to swing that blade when you come by, run it the other way, and then swing it back.
well, then it just goes in the middle of the road.
Wouldn't be that much. They could drive past that. Anyhow, the roads look good for as much snow as we got, as heavy as that stuff was.
Yes. Yeah,
It's like the second most snow since they've been recording snow. 1977 had more snow, but that was it.
Yeah.
it was very wet and heavy.
Yes, it was.
But it was beautiful to look out.
Mhm. And I like
Yeah.
it, but he doesn't like
You
it when
need
I
to
say
get
that.
your rose-colored glasses on.
No, I said, you look out, you can't get out, but you
Yeah.
know what? Nobody can get in.
Yeah. So, John, you got anything other than what you've got on your report, here?
No, just what's on the report.
And like I said, the streets and stuff really look good. You guys have really been at it, so I appreciate all your extra words. Anybody else have anything for the street department?
On top of that, they put Christmas lights and new banners up.
Yeah, they all look
And the
good.
water department put out here. Everybody's working hard.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Look beautiful. And I don't know who ordered those banners for downtown. Old pickup truck. They're gorgeous. It is really cool. And then with the green snowflakey things beside it, when I looked up, looked really good. I wish we could do it throughout the whole town. The old pickup trucks, I really like that.
Thought they turned out really good.
Kudos to all of those that worked on that. Okay. Nothing else for the street department? Anybody else have anything?
Mm-mm.
Thanks, John. Have a good evening.
You too.
Get some rest in there. So got blizzards coming this way. I watched it on TV.
Uh,
They're gonna go around us. You wait and see.
I hope so.
Cemetery. Everybody have a chance to read Amber's. Anybody have any questions about anything?
I just had a thought of what's the park?
We're bypassing Park today. All right, they're doing a fine job out there too, even in this weather. So, and they got branches falling all over. I hope we're planting some new trees. Otherwise, we're gonna have a bare cemetery. And
Yeah.
I'd rather see some trees growing in there. So even if we have to get some older trees to fill in spots.
I know she's been talking about it, because she asked me if we had money to do that, so I know she's got a plan.
Well, when I read the obituaries, especially from here in town, gone, name's gone. May.
Fruit May,
Yeah, for May.
came out the funeral home.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always put, or you can plant a tree. Where are they planting them trees at? Is that something that we can look into and say, hey, we'll take a tree? It might be something for her to approach, yeah, Brian, and see what they're doing with those, because, I look at that all the time, and we'll donate a tree. So if they would donate a tree to us for all those people that want trees done, or at least put us on the list of one of the cemeteries, I don't know what they're doing with them, but that would be excellent. Get us some trees in there, because we've got a lot of areas, especially to the south, where there's nothing. And I'm not sure that we will ever put plots in the southeast side of that, because that's all sand. And they hauled that in many, many years ago. It's got the pipeline that runs up underneath there. And so maybe a nice little tree park or something like that might behoove us, for people that would be able to come and stroll around through the cemetery,
They're not real
visit
big.
relatives. And
There's, I want to say 4 or 6 that they planted. They're not very big, but they planted earlier this year
Oh, good.
on that most east new drive.
Oh,
to-
really?
To the
Yeah.
front. Yeah, there, and then there's some others that they put in the pack. I want to say Martin Franke, that she got them. that-
Oh, yeah,
Martin
Martin would be a good
gave
one,
them
yeah.
some or something. But yeah, but they're small. I mean, and of course, those will take a while.
What are the rules and regulations on like a Okra grant for our cemetery for repaving out there? Because we've got some places that are gonna have to be repaved. They're just about down to gravel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd have to talk to I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not aware of anything like that, but, yeah, and I know that Lori had moved some stuff, so I mean, I know we're, after getting that building done, that is part of the plan.
Okay.
Trying to come up and,
Well, maybe throwing it in with the street someplace.
yeah, and it got late this year, I know, and I know John and I have talked on that part in the back, and we stored, a lot of the millings that we took off, but not good. The milling purposes were really nice, because they didn't get down and get into dirt or whatever, and we thought once it gets warmer, just we'll take some of those and try and put them out back, and, you know, you can get some heat in it, and then compact them and roll them
Yeah.
or whatever. It won't, I mean, it's certainly not
It's
gonna
not
be a
the
new
same, but
road.
it's better than.
Yeah, but,
We always ran them through a heated paver.
and we don't have a paper, they got hot box, so that might be a possible. But,
And then rolled them heavy.
yeah,
Something to think about.
Yep.
Other improvements. Anything else for the cemetery?
Excited to hear what happens
Are,
before. We'll let
you
Lori
are
take-
excited, are you?
Well, this is new, we'll let Lori
Oh,
take that
okay.
forward.
Well, Bill, did the interlocal agreement so that we can donate the $1,500
Oh.
that Focus LaGrange gave us for pickleball. We're going to redonate it to LCY, because that's what this agreement is.
Okay.
The other thing that agreement does is it locks in a little bit the agreement we have with LCYC to actually deed that land to us when they get the park done. So we set it up to record not only with the auditor, but also record it with the county recorder's office.
Bill, do we need a resolution number on this?
No, it's just an agreement.
All right.
So it gets signed by president?
I think
All of us.
I think I set it up for everybody to sign.
Yeah.
Yep, I moved to accept this agreement, interlocal agreement, LCYC.
Got a motion and a second to accept the agreement with LCYC for Curtis Park. And what we're going to do, so that it's all clear, is we've got money that was donated to us for our pickle parks. that we tried to build here in town and got knocked down because we couldn't meet the requirements of the location. And, by donating this money to them through an interlocal agreement, they can get twice the amount. Because they've got some agreement where they can double the amount of their donations. So actually, we're donating quite a bit of money to this, through this agreement with them. So any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everybody.
And it's not truly an interlocal agreement. It's just agreement between us and their agency.
Sorry, I missed it. It did just say agreement at the top.
Yes.
I called it an interlocal last meeting.
Yeah.
And when I looked at interlocals, it wasn't going to work, but
Okay.
you know, this works.
Yeah.
Well, we signed a lot of papers tonight,
Lori kept me busy this week.
I guess.
Kept you out of trouble, didn't I, Bill?
Absolutely. You kept me off my bike ride.
Well, at least you're still alive, or bike
That's
riding, you're
true.
not so lucky at, so.
And you know, today's ride would have taken me down a very busy street, so it's probably just as well.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for parks?
Nope.
Rich, you have anything for us tonight?
Not have anything other than my report that I submitted to you. I'm sure you've had all kinds of time to,
I did look through it. I perused it a little bit.
but I did send it to you,
Yeah.
so.
I did.
But other than that, I do not.
When does our new guy graduate?
17,
17.
which is like a Wednesday or Thursday. It's Wednesday.
Merry
Are you guys,
Christmas.
making a pilgrimage down?
Do what?
Are you making a pilgrimage down?
Well,
Keep me informed.
okay,
I mean, I'd like to go down for that.
I know you'd like to go. Your date is open,
All right,
17th evening.
leave about, what, 2 a.m.? I know
Well,
the last time we went down, we just about didn't make it because, yeah,
Yes,
traffic was terrible through Indy. And
yes,
it was bad.
yes.
I tried to get him to turn on the red lights, but no, he wouldn't.
Dad.
So. Anybody have anything for Rich? Okay, good. Have a good evening. Thanks for coming. Jeremy got anything? I didn't see anything. Mark, what have you got? We haven't talked about it yet.
A few things, that we have in here. I guess I'll start with some of the stuff. As everybody recall, we had basically a work session or whatever before where we met with Mike Klein-Peter, from Klein-Peter Consulting, as well as Andy and Mike here from DLZ. The gist of that was, and through there, I'm going to, after that, make a recommendation that we move forward with applying for an Okra grant for the wastewater treatment plant, and authorized Mike from Klein-Peter Consulting and DLZ Engineering to begin preparing the necessary documents to be able to apply for that.
I make a motion that we move forward with the what he said.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion. We got a motion for what he said. I'll try to clear it up a little bit. For an Okra grant to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant with some stuff that's starting to show its wear and tear. And so we're gonna apply for that Okra grant, which gives us a very narrow timeline where Sue's gonna have to really be working right on stuff along with Andy. The biggest thing is that environmental study that has to be done. That's a 90 days. We've got to get that done in 90 days. And then Klein Peter, they do all the other stuff and start working on everything else in between besides what we're doing, and to search for money. So any other thoughts? Do we have a motion or a second? Did
Yeah.
we get a second?
I got a second.
So all in favor of working on an Okra grant?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next thing I would have is also as a part of that, we discussed with DLZ engineering about applying for an SRF grant and or loan with regards to the lead line replacement that Mark talked a little bit about earlier tonight. I would suggest to you that we authorize DLZ to begin the paperwork necessary as well to apply for those loans and or grants through SRF.
I make a motion to move forward with that process.
Second.
Through SRF. She seconded. I heard her.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to move ahead with a DLZ working on an SRF loan for our asset management plan and for our lead lines that we have to replace throughout the town. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, trying to move some. Next thing I have is just kind of an update on, as you guys will recall, we were contacted by the county's attorney, or Bill was contacted by the county's attorney trying to come up with a list of 3 names for them for potential appointments to the health board. I've only been able to come up with 2 that would qualify based off the parameters that are set by Indiana code, those being Cynthia Swihart and Dave Merrifield. It would be my suggestion, whether through Bill or I can go directly with the stuff he forwarded me from the county attorney, that we just provide them with those 2 names and address and contact, so that the commissioners, if they choose, then can act on that at their next meeting on the 15th. I know that the original email, as I recall, they asked that you give them some type of a list in December. A lot of times they do a special meeting the end of the year, but the only schedule that I'm aware of at this time yet that in December would be the 15th. So I think we're kind of at that point now of time. So if there's not an objection to that, I will work with Bill and we'll get that information back to the county attorney.
I make a motion, we have Mark move forward on the giving the names to the right people.
Second.
And a motion and a second to have Mark and Bill work on with the county to provide names for the county health board. Cynthia Swihart, Dave Merrifield. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next thing I have, just for clarity, if somebody didn't see that, on Friday, November 21st, after working about a month or so with Bruce at Keystone Cooperative for whatever reason, the price took a pretty significant drop for gasoline and diesel for next year. So I locked both of those in. We were able to, kind of an overall, margin. We have two different spans on the diesel fuel, but we were able to lock that in at 15 cents a gallon less than what we're paying this year. And we were able to lock the gasoline in at 27 cents a gallon less than we're paying this year. So gasoline will be $2.71 a gallon next year. We start out and run January through April on the diesel at $2.33 a gallon. And then, basically from May to December, we go to $3.26 a gallon. So
Amazing.
that'll help
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I get, we're probably, it's hard to say. I think we normally use a little more of the regular gas with the mowing at the cemetery, and we converted what we can in some of those vehicles, and then with Rich and his guys. So that will help on that one. The next thing I have, I provided everybody, and I know I said that I attached a copy, but I didn't, so that's why you have it manually there. But I did come up with meeting dates for next year. They're the same as what we always do in time. Really, the reason for doing it that way and approving it is if you choose to do that, leave everything the same, then Lori can send that out once, and we're good for the entire year. So that's the purpose of that document. So if you're so inclined to want to do that, it basically remains with the meetings being the first and third Mondays of each month at 6 o'clock, with a couple of exceptions because of holidays where we move to like a Tuesday.
I move to approve the 2026 council meeting dates.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the 2026 town council meeting dates starting promptly at 6 p.m. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next thing I have, and we can do it here, or it can be done at your next meeting or after. I just listed some of the board appointments that come back up as far as your BZA, your town BZA member with John Schmidt coming off, and John is willing to be reappointed to that. That's a 4-year term. When you do that, I did reach out and speak with Bill Stewart, who's our current alcoholic beverage board member. Bill apparently is dealing with some health issues, and we feel that he can continue to serve in that. So we will need to begin to either post something or attempt to find someone to replace him on that board. Beginning in January, I will be asking you to reappoint me as your representative to the EDC board. And then, like I said, at some point, either at your next meeting or the first meeting in January, you'll want to reorganize. So we can do any of those tonight, or we can do them all at the next meeting, and I can just carry them over. But I just wanted to make you aware more than anything about the Bill Stewart issue, so that we can all attempt to try to find somebody to fill that void. So with that, the next thing I have on my list is, go ahead.
If you guys on the council are looking to replace that, get with Mark first, because there are special requirements they have to meet in order to be eligible for that board.
Yeah, it does. That one does have a few groups, and
Thank
then
you,
they have to be willing to, that there's like some online training that you have to do before they can set that and stuff, but yeah. Next thing I had on my list to discuss that you've done in the past. Yeah, I know in the past, yeah, the council has done like Christmas bonuses or whatever that are handed out at the Christmas party. If based off the date of the party, if it's your intent to do something like that again, then you probably need to approve that in your meeting tonight. So Lori can take care of that for you.
Well, in the past, we've always done the same as we did the year before, so I would recommend that would probably be the best way to go. So.
I make a motion, we do what we normally do.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, for Christmas bonuses for a Christmas party. For our town employees, be the same as what they were last year for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And there are a couple others here that we'll touch on. I
Thank
don't get into the non-popular. So, just an update to you folks as well as the world. There has been a multitude of rumors and things going around regarding the Dairy Queen or the Dairy Queen not coming. I can assure you that in my emails today, I received a document from the engineer designing.
Yes.
As to that. So it has not gone away. It's clearly not moving as quickly as we had all hoped or planned, but it is absolutely and definitively still coming. So, that is underway.
Great news.
Yeah. I just trying.
I had people.
Oh, I understand. Believe me, I've had people.
They said that he squashed it.
No, we didn't do anything.
We did not
about
squash
it. No. They're.
I got people.
Yeah.
They said it was the town council's fault.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh, what?
I had people say that was town council's fault that they weren't coming to town.
No, they're coming.
I don't know that we've stopped anybody from coming into town.
The next one I have is, we don't have a lot of involvement in this, but I did want to, because of the nature, bounce this off you. The county's it has been working with, or it's had a couple of different meetings with, this Inspiration Ministries. And what Inspiration Ministries is potentially looking at doing is putting in a male residential treatment home just north of the jail, on State Road 9. A lot of pieces. The only reason I bring it up to you in the involvement is there has been a reach out to me on that, because if they do this, they're going to want to be able to connect to town water and to town sewer. Water is relatively easy to achieve. Sewer can be done. The question that I think we have to go back to the county with is, if the line that runs from the jail to what I would call the point there by Rose house or whatever, in that manhole is a force main, and it's actually owned by the county. You can't tap a force main. The jail has its own grinder and pump. Assuming, and that's a big assumption, but assuming it would have capacity, when Sue and I have talked about this and looked at it a little bit, it would seem to me that if the county would be willing to let them to tie in there, that's possible. If they don't want to do that, or it's not possible to do that, then what it would require is they'd have to put in with that home their own grinder pump or whatever, and run a force main in State Road 9's right away to the manhole that sets up at the point, I think, and then it would go from there on. Normally they send these and they're fairly simple, and I want to do it. The nature of me wanting to bring this to you is, I guess the nature of what it is. I mean, everything's being done in the county. It's being handled by the county, and the only involvement or control over this that we would have whatsoever is the fact that they're going to try to hook to our utilities. So I'm just looking to see whether or not we're willing, I guess, basically to let them do that if this moves forward. There's a grant process I think they're looking at through Okra, and potentially trying to get the county to put some of their ARPA funds with it. I think there are people that are very passionate about it. This ministry is fairly heavily connected with Brighton Chapel. On the other side of the coin is I have been asked to sit on a committee for the county with the distributions of the Oprah funds, and in setting the one meeting that we've had so far, I can tell you that from a judicial standpoint, they're from some that they're not fond of Inspiration Ministries or the use of them for whatever reason. So whether this thing actually goes or not, I don't know, and I don't really have much control. But like I said, based off of what it is, I felt like I should bring this one to you guys to determine whether or not we would allow them to hook to our utilities. I mean, it's a 14.9, hookup. Makes sense. It is doable. I think, from a water standpoint, it's very doable. From a sewer standpoint. And basically what I've said, to some of them that we're working on it is, you're gonna have to design something. And get with the county, whether it's going to the jail or it's coming up. And then once we have something like that, before we commit to that, then get Mike or Andy or somebody to take a look at it. I think in theory, let's go there, that it's doable. It may not be real cost effective, but I think it's doable. But I think from a cost standpoint and an ease standpoint would be to tie in at the sheriff's department if the county were so inclined to allow them to do that.
So is that, north of the sheriff's department
Yeah.
and south of the ball?
Correct. And that basically they want the county to gift them about 8 acres of that wooded area, and it would set in there. I think it's initially 20 some beds or something like that.
Wow.
So, again, just looking for
Keep it
some
on the radar.
direction as to whether we have any issues with, if we have the ability to provide water and sewer, does anyone have an issue with us doing that? That's, I guess, what I'm looking for.
So just as some offset questions here, is that policed by the sheriff's department?
It's in the county, so.
Well, I mean, as far as the people inside it.
No, it would be staffed.
So it's
by
like a halfway house type
It's
deal?
It's a treatment and as I understand it, would be a treatment and or recovery type house. I don't know a lot about it. I've said in very minimal and tried to listen in, but as I understand it, it's like a 45-day complete lockdown, and then there's another 45 days where they try to get them out doing similar to like community service type work for that 45 days to get them back out. And then from there, I think they can stay up to approximately another 90 days where they get them into some type of an full-time employment, where the bulk of the money that they're making is then put into an account or for them or a savings, so that at the end of like this 180-day span, they've got the ability to go out and get themselves housing.
But they're gonna do all the staffing and all that.
Yeah, I mean, the only, like I said, the only involvement or really control we'll have over this. I mean, I'm sure that if it moves forward, they'll have to have some public hearings, and if anybody is adamantly opposed to
So
that.
it's just
Yeah, you could certainly express those concerns.
You're just putting it on our radar. You're not asking for us to.
For water. So
Yeah, they're just asking.
Just water and sewer.
That,
But you were looking for that today. I mean, is this something you're looking for an answer for us today?
I kind of, well, as I understand it, if this thing is kind of, counties started it late, that it's on a rocket type deal, and I think they will want some type of an answer. As I understand it, I think the application that the county has agreed to partner with them, with Inspiration Ministries on, which is an Ochre grant, has to be submitted by, I think, December 21st. So as a part of that, they're probably going to want some form of a letter that says, yes, whether or not they can hook to town utilities for the structure or the home.
What reason would we have not to?
I don't think that there's necessarily any reason to not want to, in my mind. Now, the norm that you have with normally with facilities like this or that I have seen in the past is in most cases, people are supportive of these type programs and treatment facilities and then you tell them you're gonna put it in their backyard, and they're like, oh, no way. They don't want it there. So from a standpoint of its location, it's probably about as, if they move forward, it's about as good as it could be. I mean, you know, you've got a cemetery, the sheriff's department, and a radar tower. Yeah, it's a radar tower. So, I mean, there's very little impact to anyone or potentially anyone's property value and stuff like that. And again, it's not in town. It's, all of that ground is in the county. So I don't think there is. I mean, I think it's a revenue generator,
Yeah, I
as
think-
long as,
I
is
think
that
we
my, like I said, my only concern is wanting to see before it, and we could do it tentatively based off a design or whatever on the sewer is, but I want to see how they intend to do that and let our experts look at that and tell me that, yes, that makes sense, or no, that doesn't make sense.
I would be thinking that trying to get the permits to run that sewer line up.
Oh, yeah, well, and to that's what I said, because the county owns that. So that's why I said what I said earlier, from a cost standpoint and an ease standpoint, if they were coming to hook into the existing one at the sheriff's department, they could do that all on county-owned or private property, and it would eliminate a multitude of permits and probably, quite frankly, cost. I mean, it would eliminate the need for an additional pump and grinder, which is a chunk in itself.
That sewer line to the jail was a son of a gun to get in. I remember doing it.
I'll bet.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's, I mean, that's the only issue. No, I think, you know, a 24-bed facility, give or take, that's using water every day is at the 14.9 higher rate is a win for us.
That's what I would say.
I'll entertain a motion that we allow Mark to send a letter of approval for water and sewer off of our systems if they can get it done.
I make a motion that we have Mark send them a letter of approval to hook into our water and sewer.
Second. Got a motion and a second to allow Mark to put a letter of agreement that we would allow them to hook up with our water and sewer comes available if their project comes to fruition. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Couple others yet. One more on a what I would say is a positive note. Late this afternoon, Ray got this as well, but we did get confirmation from NDOT, our application for the 2026-1 community crossing grant application was approved, and we were awarded $952,800 for the High Street improvement. So we'll have a 20% match that we have to put with that. So that made the road portion of it came in about 1.1, but then we'll have the upgrades that we plan to do that are non-participating to the sanitary sewer.
Yeah,
And
that's
or
great.
water. The biggest, I guess, what I'm looking, the other piece to know with this, and I'm sure Mike's already spinning thinking on this one, but it has an aggressive timeline because we have to get this thing out to bid, under contract, and the documents back to NDOT by March 1st, 2026, or we forfeit the money. So I'm guessing January-ish, we need to be out to bid. So I guess for clarity to all, probably wouldn't hurt to have a motion authorizing DLZ to continue on or move forward with preparing those documents and getting that ready to submit.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to have DLZ move forward with our High Street project and our SRF loan or our community crossings loan. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
the next thing is not, and I don't know whether everybody had a chance to do this, but we will need to discuss this at some time. As a part of this SRF loan that we did for the water treatment plant, Baker Tilly has now completed a 20-year asset management plan for the water department, which is something that is soon to be required. In that plan, it calls for rate increases of 53% over the next 20 years, with more specifically, it speaks to 8% rate increases needed in years 26, 27, and 28. I guess the only thing positive I can say about that is it circumvents the need, I believe, to have a rate study done at this point. So let's save that money. I think it would pay clearly we have to do that to be able to maintain the debt rate and some different stuff. It's not ideal. It basically would take current rates for 4,000 gallons of water only from 41.88 to 52.76 by 2028. But I think if you're going to utilize this and get the most bang for your buck, when you do the rate increase, if that's what you choose to do, that you look at this and at least pull the recommendation out and do like 5 years worth of it or whatever. Basically, after 28, I think it goes into 2 years of no increase where it stays flat. And then from there, it jumps into some 4% increases and so on throughout the span of that. Not the greatest thing, but I also think it's probably something that's unavoidable. I'm not sure how you stay compliant with your loan and the debt service that we need if we don't do some of these. So it probably makes sense to somewhere now or into January of next year to have Bill or whoever we need start preparing the appropriate paperwork and notices and public hearings to move forward with that. I think we have a whole lot of options, but that's completely up to you to determine whether you want to follow that or not.
You guys have any thoughts on that? You want to hold till the next meeting, but like Mark says, we don't really have a lot of options.
Right. I like a small increases rather than a large one out of 4 years from now.
Well, if anybody else, I would entertain a motion to have Bill and Mark start working on this with whoever else you need to.
Make a
to get
motion, we have
started on
Bill
this.
move forward with it.
So we got a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Well, something else for you to do, Bill.
He's bored.
Yeah, I get enough time.
Last one I've got, is in here that I put on here, that I promised John I would bring up. We've got an ongoing issue with an individual that lives here in town in the leaf pickup. And as I read the way our current ordinances and our nuisance ordinance are, it doesn't give us the leverage we need. But we literally had an individual who owns a significant amount of roadway push piles into the road, completely shutting down one lane of traffic that had sticks, limbs, tree pieces in there. Pile was 4 foot high and it ran, I don't know, 200-300 feet, except for that individual's driveway. Based off lighting and everything else, it caused me to keep the entire street department here on overtime. We had to use loaders, 3 trucks, chainsaws, and it literally took us, probably took John could probably tell you better than I, but probably an hour and a half of doing nothing else to get that to where the street was open. My phone was blowing up from people concerned of not being able to get around. We have school buses that run down through there. And this is every year we deal with this. we have, I think we have to have something tweaked or something new prepared. That's not what the purpose of this is. And it's just literally using equipment and taking anything that's in that large yard and pushing it into the street. And that's not what we're about. And that's not what John and his staff should have to deal with every year. Trying to pick up leaves for this individual. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, putting them out to the edge is one thing, and I understand that there are massive piles, but it becomes an issue when
It obstructs traffic.
yeah, I mean, if there had been an accident there, could have been pretty substantial, and I'm not sure that in some fashion, the town, doesn't become liable in some way. I mean, we were made aware of it. We addressed it as quickly as we could with everything else. This was on a Monday. We came back in on that Monday. It had been a nice weekend and the guys were just hammered with leaves. So we were going like crazy with rain and stuff coming in the next day, trying to get all of these piles backed up or whatever. And then still had to deal with this because I know, yeah, I mean, it's like, we can't leave a road shut down with nothing out there once it gets dark. So the guy stayed, but like I said, what I can read into the current ordinances doesn't give us a piece or a leg where we can do something about that in some fashion. We need to amend. There is an ordinance that kind of talks about the leaf pickup and how we do that and where to place things in some separation, but it's going to need
And I thought,
tweaked.
I thought the ordinance read that not limbs, not big sticks, not
Well,
bigger
and
than.
not,
such and
and like
such.
I said, and I mean, we filled, John did one of the small dump trucks completely full with what we cut up and just the brush and stuff that had to be pulled out. So we couldn't use leaf backs because there was so many tree limbs and branches and just all kinds of things.
We can tweak that and take care of that problem.
Yeah, you wanna get together, get some language written up for us to review.
Yeah, I'll work with Mark. We can tweak that. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
That becomes the next.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I suppose when we put in there, we need to make sure that it's also very, very clear that you can't just burn things within town, leaves or that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, we have an ordinance on that, but yeah, we can tweak it and you know, that debris part and like Edna said, a lot of our ordinances, it's pretty, to me, it seems pretty clear that it's for leaves, it's not for limbs. But
Right.
we can clean that up and make a fine for putting limbs in there. That takes care of it.
Oh, yeah. Keep that in. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think at a minimum, what I would like to, I mean, there needs to be a fine or a way that we use our existing scale for equipment use not related to town purposes that we
Right.
that we can oppose in.
That's
into
exactly
whatever-
what was going through my mind. I'll work with you on it.
Okay. Because it just needs to stop. Among everything else, it's a safety issue, but it's completely, in my mind, unfair to ask the street department to deal with
Now
that.
they're on Mountain Street. Somebody cut down a tree, piled all their brush and stuff, and it blocked off one whole lane for a day before they got it
Yeah.
pulled out of there. That's
and
not
it's
what it's
probably-
intended.
And that probably needs to be as well, as it's like, if you're gonna hire a contractor to come in and trim your tree or remove the tree, don't expect the town to dispose of the tree. You need,
Right.
you know, or if you're doing it yourself, then you better have a plan in place.
Yeah.
I don't think John or the guys, you trim a few limbs and it's into some smaller stuff. We get that, that's part of what we do and part of what we offer, but we shouldn't have to clean up an entire tree or, multiple truckloads of bringing in equipment to pick it up. That's not the nature.
The
of
one
what we're
on
doing.
Mountain. If they would have cut all the branches off of the main post and flattened them out, they would have been okay, but no. they left this huge, they were like this on that post and they just got them stacked out there.
Yeah.
It blocked up that whole lane.
And we literally don't have a way of handling or disposing much of anything more than about 4 inches in diameter at the most. So,
Yeah. Taking advantage of.
I think that's all I have unless you have something.
Anybody have anything? Bill, you got anything that we haven't talked about?
Mark hit everything that was on my list.
Where you at on the alley closing by the post office?
Mark and I have been working on it and coming up with a plan. We think we need a better plan than we've got, and so we've been working on it.
Okay.
Anything else for Bill?
There's like 8 things, 10 things on there. Yeah, we had time for them.
Any open discussion this evening?
I have something I'd like to add. Should have asked earlier. It's been several years since, this probably won't be horribly popular with township trustees, but it's been several years since we looked at how much they give us for fire department expenses. I'd like to know if council would consider maybe having a committee to look, setting a committee to look into that. What needs to be done, contacting them, appointing someone, point person, I don't know what you would call it. But it's been a while, and as everybody else knows, all the expenses have gone up. Might be time to look at it, it might not be, but I think it would be a good idea to take a look and see.
Do we have an up-to-date agreement between the two townships?
We have the last agreement.
The last one?
It's been several years.
Probably 2014, it's been a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe,
So,
maybe longer. than
maybe
that.
longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably 7 to 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's not like we ask them to up it every year.
Right.
Yeah, I think it went from, the last one went from 10 to, it's 15
It's
now.
15 now, they
Yeah.
each give
It was-
15,000.
Was the last change that was done. And it goes back, and at that point, I think it was, Bill Conlon was still, I think it was Bill and Bill. Did that.
And we've had meetings with them where they've indicated they aren't against upping that. It's just a matter of timing for their budget process on that, and I get that, but if we
And
don't,
they won't as long as we don't push it.
if we don't start something, it'll never happen. So
Yeah.
I
At least-
just wanna throw it out
At
there.
least if they've already put their budgets together for next year already now, at least we can focus for 2027.
We have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, because they'll have to have their budgets in about the same time we
Yeah, we
do,
do.
so
Yeah,
we're
they-
looking at what, July? So,
You're gonna wanna do it before,
right,
you're gonna propose it before they start their budget, so I would suggest no later than April to get it together.
Bill, do you remember how, what the terminology is in the contract about how many days we have to give them notice of a change? Is it 90
Before,
days, 30
yeah,
days?
yeah. I don't recall exactly the number of days, but if we're looking at the 2027 budget, we're well within that if we get started right away.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we can send them out a letter saying, hey, I can get with Lori and figure out where they're at on their budget process and say for next year's budget, the town would like to discuss an increase, expenses that went up. And we'd like to hear from you as to where you're at on this process. Because as Lori said, I've sat through more than one meeting where they've came in and said, we don't have a problem with increasing the rates. We just want to make sure that it's within the budget process.
Well, let's start moving forward on that. I'll be more than glad to sit in on a meeting with the township trustees along with Mark and Lori. And probably you, Bill.
Okay.
If it's all right, I'd like to sit on that as well.
We'll see,
I'm
we'll see,
just
Josh.
putting my name in the hat there.
Okay, thank you.
we can get the process started.
Yep, start working on it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Anything else? Any other open discussion? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
We got a motion, a second to approve our claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion carried. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for everything. Thanks for